What's going on, Beamer fans? Welcome back to BeamerView. For today's video, we're going to be going over 10 plus BMW battery mistakes that you could make that could ruin your BMW. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, BeamerView, what we do here is teach you everything there is to know about these vehicles. We go over all the hidden tips and tricks. If you have a BMW and you want to learn everything there is to know about it, do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel because we put our content every single week. Also, if you needed a BMW key fob cover for the BMW key that looks like this guy right here, check out the links right down below at the end of the video. We've sold over 400 of these, so do yourself a favor and buy yourself one of these so you can protect your $900 BMW key fob. We are shipping all around the United States, and our stock as of right now is very limited, so don't miss out on these BMW compatible key fob covers. So I've been seeing a ton of different mistakes that are going on with the BMW battery. There are a couple different features that you can adjust and a couple different things you need to know about the BMW battery. If, say for example, you were leaving your car for a very long time, quick disclaimer, these are just my tips, not anything official from BMW. Please make sure you do your own research. I do agree that things with the battery can be quite tricky, so again, please do your own due diligence. In regards to this, you can call your BMW service provider to get the most official up-to-date information. So I just want to get that out the way. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you are someone who is going to be leaving your car for a long time, we get this question quite a bit. If, say for example, you are leaving your BMW alone for months, one of the things that I would do for my BMW is I would put it into deep sleep mode. Now, a lot of people would question this. Should I get a trickle charger for the car? You could do that. I will go over that later on, but the first thing that I would rely on is BMW's deep sleep mode. BMW's deep sleep mode is going to be found inside the vehicle. The way we can find it is if you go into system settings, and then if you go all the way down to system settings, as I just said, if you go into there, and then if you scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see this guy called deep sleep mode. If you click on it, you're going to see some options here. What deep sleep mode can do is really cool. It's one of those things where you may not have to use a trickle charger at all. The vehicle will go into a deep sleep mode so you can leave it alone for a longer amount of time. You could even have it set up so that it turns off the security alarm, which could just simply help the battery maintain its health during the time that you're away from the vehicle. Keep in mind that if you activate this, and then say for example a couple months down the road you go up to your BMW, you're going to notice that your doors are not going to unlock because this also deactivates comfort access as well. The way you wake up the car from its deep sleep mode is you have to go to the trunk of the car, and then you have to press on the trunk button to wake up the car. Then you can go ahead to the door, and then you can open up your car and have it completely wake up from deep sleep mode. If you were leaving your BMW for a couple months, once you actually activate the mode, you'll actually see your BMW post up on the screen saying roughly how long or how many weeks you could leave the BMW alone. I believe for some BMWs it's kind of close up to 14 weeks. Some maybe up to 20 weeks, but again, read the screen, do your research, and do give this a try if you do have to leave your BMW for a long time. Many BMWs have comfort access activated at all times. If I go into settings here, you're going to see that if I go into doors and windows right over here, that you're going to see this option where it says comfort access. Right below that, you're going to see two boxes that I can check on if I wanted to, where it says unlock when approaching and lock when walking away. If you have these two on, if you have the key nearby the car at your house or even in your pocket, and if you're walking around nearby your home garage, there's going to be a good chance that the vehicle is going to unlock and lock, unlock and lock. If I go into comfort access, you're going to see this option right here where it says Exclude Home. What that will do is if you check that on, then it would exclude this option right here where it says unlock when approaching to deactivate whenever the vehicle is at home. So it won't make those crazy beeping sounds where it unlocks. That would be prevented at home. Keep in mind, this is still a good thing because you would still be grabbing the door handle regardless in order to open up the car, but this will prevent that unnecessary locking and unlocking at home. Right now it is grayed out. You do have to go into your BMW maps right over here, and you do have to set this up as one of your home addresses inside the BMW navigation. Right now it's not going to show me because I don't have my BMW ID connected, but yes, you do have to go into BMW navigation, set up the home address first, and then once you go back into comfort access here, you're going to see this option be able to be lit up. I would highly recommend doing that, especially at home. If you don't have that exclude home function, what you could do, and what I would do, is I would simply just turn off unlock when approaching altogether. Keep in mind, you have to grab the door handle regardless. You're not really losing a whole lot if you just keep that one off, and then if you keep this one on where it says lock when walking away, this one is quite handy. This one is more on the redundant side because, again, grabbing the door handle unlocks the car. All that this will do is just unlock the car before you grab the door handle. It doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference between the two, so I would just deactivate that. And again, as mentioned before, by doing that, your vehicle will stop locking and unlocking continuously, and it would save the battery. Another big mistake that BMW owners make is leaving their key inside the car. Don't do that. You do not want to leave your key inside the car, because if you do, your BMW is still going to think that you're sitting inside the car. And then before you know it, the screens are going to stay on, the lights are going to stay on, the vehicle is not going to fully go to sleep, and it is going to drain the battery. Not only will it drain the battery on the car, but on your key as well. So you don't want to leave the key inside the car. You want to take the key outside the car. Not only do you want to take the key outside the car, but you want to place it away from your car so it doesn't try to talk to the car and send signals back and forth. And lastly, you want to lock the car as well. You want to keep your car locked whenever you're not using it, because then the vehicle can go into its deep sleep mode. Yes, our BMWs do need their REM sleep, I should say. But yes, lock the car so that you can go to sleep, and if needed to do software updates, it could do that as well whenever the vehicle is locked. If you were sitting inside your car and if you had to sit here for a long time and you don't want to drain the battery, you can turn off the screens by simply holding down the volume knob for 3 seconds. By doing that, you can turn off the screens. If I'm going to just be sitting inside my car doing nothing, or probably scrolling on my phone, I would just turn off the screens if you don't need them. Now, one of the biggest ones is how much you drive the car. Driving the car, or any car, is huge, not just for BMWs themselves. My personal recommendation would be to drive the car at least once a week, and if you can, try to do a half-hour drive on the highway, and that would help maintain that the BMW battery does stay in a good tip-top shape. Keep in mind, driving the car too less can be a bad thing. The battery can fully charge itself as you're driving the car. You can idle the car a little if you want, but anything excessive can also put unnecessary strain on the BMW battery as well. So my personal recommendation would be to drive the car at least once a week if you can. It's only after about the 2-week mark, if you don't drive your car for 2 weeks, then you may want to consider things like deep sleep mode, and you may want to consider a trickle charger so that your battery doesn't go flat. Ultimately, yes, you can use deep sleep mode, you can use a trickle charger if you wanted to, but driving the car, using it normally, consistently, is going to be your best bet in terms of the health of the battery. What I would do is contact your parts department to see which trickle charger is compatible with the BMW. Do your research on what trickle chargers are compatible. I'm not a BMW technician by any means. To my knowledge, I do believe that BMW has 2 different batteries, lithium ion and AGM. BMW, you want to check to see if your trickle charger has the settings to charge either one of those 2. Do your research on the BMW battery itself. You want to check to see if it's lithium ion or AGM. I would personally call any BMW certified store to get that information. And then once you have your trickle charger, you can set the setting to be whether you want it in AGM or lithium ion. But again, do your research on this. You get the right one that's compatible to your BMW. These batteries can change depending on any BMW you have. So again, I'm going to sound like a broken record and always keep on saying do your research, because it's very important to do so. One of the things to mention about a trickle charger is some of them do come with the ones where you can use a cigarette lighter and then plug it into your cigarette lighter rather than trying to plug into your battery. To my knowledge, for BMWs, do not use those. I've heard some pretty bad stories about that. You don't want to rely on this guy to charge the car. In my opinion, you do not want to use the cigarette lighter to charge the car for trickle charging, because to my knowledge, it only works as an output for charging. So let's quickly pop the hood. I'm going to show you where the battery is. Keep in mind, it could be different for any BMW, so do your own due diligence on this one. For this vehicle, we do have a X5, and let's go check out the hood so we can find our battery terminals. If you want to pop the hood, you do have to pull on this guy 2 times, 1, 2. If you don't have this latch here, you may have one on your BMW way up here. So pull on it 2 times, 1, 2. And then what you want to do is go to the hood of your car, and then you're going to see your battery terminal located somewhere here on this side. Now for the terminals, you're going to see your positive red colored one located right over here. The ground can be a little bit difficult to locate. It may take a little bit of digging, but for this BMW X5, it's actually located right over here. You can see a small picture of the ground or negative located right here. And if you look right behind here, you're going to see it located right over here. This little guy right over here. Really hard to see, I agree with that, but this is what you kind of want to look for the ground. So again, your positive, the red, pretty obvious, your ground, kind of hard to see, but this little mark, but look for this little mark, and then especially the ground would look like this little guy right over here. So that's where your negative would go, that's where your positive would go. And in my opinion, one of the things that I would do if you did have to trickle charge your car, again, read into this before you actually do it, but this is what I would do. I would plug in this portion of the trickle charger first, and then have the cord dropped right down below, and then grab it from beneath the car and then plug in the rest into the power outlet. So what a lot of people would do is they would plug in the 2 terminals, have your trickle charger, and then plug it into the wall, but then they would have the wires kind of hanging through the top of the car, which would prevent the trunk from being closed. There may be some components that don't get charged if you leave the hood open. What I would personally do is, yes, if I'm charging the car, plug in this portion first, send the cord straight down, and then plug into your charger box, and then plug into the power outlet. Another one I would consider or recommend is making sure your software is up to date. Software updates can get very, very tricky, so always be careful here. I would personally make sure my car's software is up to date. Before doing the software, I would recommend going for a long 30 to 45 minute drive, preferably on a highway so you can fully charge the battery, and then the software update, just as a precaution, just so you have no issues. Keep in mind, as mentioned previously, make sure you follow the directions on your screen whenever you're doing a software update. There are some examples of things you don't want to do. The vehicle is letting you know to leave the vehicle locked for 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Do not bother the car, let it do its thing. Again, just read the instructions. Some people don't, and then they find out the hard way whenever things go wrong with the vehicle. So in my opinion, if my software update was letting me know to leave the car locked, alone, and parked for about 20 minutes, I personally wouldn't even touch the car for a half hour at least. So it's one thing to know about software updates. But yes, doing software updates is always good. Always, again, read the instructions. I would also consider reading what exactly that software update would do. Before you do the software update, it should also prompt you some changes that are going to happen with that software update. It's just going to be things like connection fixes and bug fixes. But it's always healthy to maintain your software and make sure that it's up to date. Battery health, I believe, again, not a BMW tech by any means, but I believe a healthy battery for BMWs is roughly 12.6 to 12.8 in terms of the charge. That's how you can know that is a healthy battery. Once the battery's health drops to about 80% life, which could kind of happen around the 4 or 5 year mark, then that is when I would consider swapping out the battery for another one. Your BMW service advisor would be the best ones to ask about this one. But yes, around the 4 year mark, 5 year mark, just kind of watch out for the battery. Make sure it's not due for a upgrade or a replacement. It doesn't hurt to ask how the battery is doing, so make sure you stay on top of that as well. Making sure a few things such as your BMW ID being set up, located right in here. You don't want to be in guest. You always want to make sure your BMW ID is set up so you get things like software updates prompted to you. Not only that, but having the app is crucial, because a lot of the software updates, you kind of have to have the app in order to download the data to your phone and then download the data from your phone to your car. So keep in mind, BMW app is super, super important. Check to see if there's a software update due through the app. You have to have it to do software updates. One of the things to consider if your BMW is kind of hitting the 4 year mark, look into this one too, but to my knowledge, over-the-air software updates are only good for about 3-4 years or so, and then after that you may have to resubscribe to BMW's Connected Drive service in order to continue receiving those. If you needed to renew that subscription, just go onto BMW's website, connecteddrive.com, look up your vehicle. It should already be connected to your profile on that website, and then go to your garage and then go to the Connected Drive store, and then you can resubscribe to that plan that expires probably around the 3-4 year mark. External plugged-in devices, things like radar detectors and all that, you can use it with your BMW. Keep in mind, some may work, some may not work. But if you are somebody who doesn't really drive the car, and if you have a radar detector that is plugged into it, just watch out for that radar detector, because it could put a drain on the battery itself. Obviously, if your car is off and your radar detector is on, then that's definitely a red flag to watch out for. But I would definitely do some research on that. Any little things that could be left in the car that could put a drain on your battery through the cords is something to watch out for. I personally, if I'm not going to be driving the car, I would put the vehicle in the off position in terms of the headlights. I would turn off keyless entry. I would make sure no cords are plugged into it. Take out radar detectors and USB plugs so that there's no additional, any minor drain that could happen to the battery. If you have a high voltage BMW, electric vehicle, hybrid, it's recommended that you don't leave the car plugged in the whole time. If I had a electric vehicle and I was not going to drive the car for a long time, I would obviously put it into the deep sleep mode. The battery is huge. It's going to hold life for a long time. I would personally keep the charge around 80%, and then I would operate that deep sleep mode. But that's one thing to know. My personal recommendation would be to not leave the car plugged in. Electric vehicles do a pretty good job of holding their charge. One of the last to mention is preconditioning. If you can precondition your car before you get into it, that would also put unnecessary load on the battery as well. If you have a plug-in, if you have a electric vehicle on your day-to-day commutes or your regular routine, whenever the vehicle is plugged in, because by preconditioning it while the vehicle is plugged in, you're not relying on the vehicle's battery to heat up the car, cool down the car. And then once you get into it, then your BMW is going to be ready to go, nice and warm or nice and cool. The battery would be up to a good charge, ready to drive. And that also helps with things like fuel efficiency, or efficiency in general, I should say. But yes, I personally would recommend preconditioning the car. That is going to wrap it up for the BMW battery tips. Again, if you all had any questions, write those down below. If you all think that I missed something, feel free to write that down below and I'll add that into the next video. Again, disclaimer, make sure you do your own research. Make phone calls to BMW, read instructions, read the manual. I say that because these vehicles are all different. They all have different components, and every year, small little things can change here and there, so always be careful. But yes, questions, write down below. Also, don't forget to check out the key fob covers for the key that looks like this. These key fobs are not cheap. You do not want to drop them. You do not break them. So the links for those are going to be right down below. Check those out. Limited stock. We are going to be selling out soon, so don't miss out. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and I will see you all for the next one.